We're here with Dean Thomas, Tyron Woodley's coach. How do you feel about Tyron going into this fight versus the first time around? What kind of major changes were made in camp?
We didn't make a lot of changes in camp. I feel really good this time. I felt good last time as well, but I feel exceptionally well this time because he understands the style of Wonderboy much more than he did the first time. I mean, you know, I'll be honest with you guys, when we first started training the first time, like, nobody had seen that style before. I mean, his style was different. Like, there were some guys at like 135 pounds that could fight like that, but at 170 pounds, nobody fought like that, so nobody had ever seen it before. Nobody trains with guys like that. So it took a while to make those adjustments. So going into that last fight, I think that he was still a little, you know, hesitant and kind of feeling things out a little bit, but this time it's totally different. Like, we've covered every angle, and he's confident with what we've done in this camp.
What do you make of some of the changes Steven has said that he's going to make? Steven's saying he's going to come in a bit stronger, a bit bigger in terms of size, hopefully. If you were his coach, what are kind of the negatives of that, I guess? Could cardio be an issue for him?
I mean, obviously, like, I mean, to me, that's not a great idea to come in bigger for a 5-round fight, you know? Because obviously, yeah, cardio is going to be an issue. You know, weight cutting would be more of an issue to try to come in bigger. And then again, 5 rounds, you want to come in bigger, but it doesn't matter. I mean, Tyron is such a different level athlete. They're like, okay, so your level is here, like with your strength and size, I suppose, and his is here. So you're going to come in bigger and then just be here. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to make up that gap in 5 months of how much better and stronger of an athlete that Tyron Woodley is in you. So if that's what he wants to do, you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it.
Is Tyron having fun, you know, learning, you know, when athletes learn something new, they tend to have fun with it. Is Tyron coming in the gym just throwing all these, you know, Wonderboy kicks and stuff like that
we're having a lot of fun, man. And like, part of that has to do, I think, with the environment at Rufus Sport. I mean, you know, Rufus Sport, there's a lot of guys there and they like to play and they like to have a lot of fun. And when Tyron goes there, he's kind of like a ringleader. I mean, he's so, and I say this with all, you know, with all due respect, but he's a big kid. You know, he's a big kid. So when he goes there, they play and they have a lot of fun. And I think that helps him get through hard camps. So we make sure that we have a lot of fun in camp, and he gets that there.
Tyron said something very profound yesterday. Someone asked him a question in the scrum about GSP and Michael Bisping, and he said, "Do not talk to me about that. I don't want to answer any questions on that." Is that something you would kind of talk to him about? Because do you try and keep his focus on just what lies ahead? Because people like myself and Matt here, we'll always try and, you know, we're always 10 steps, try and be 10 steps ahead of the game.
Yeah, no, that's you know, that's totally with Tyron and not wanting to talk about that right now. You know, if he wanted to talk about that, he would certainly talk about it. And there's nothing that anybody can tell him to say, hey, we're going to talk about this. If he don't want to talk about it, you know, he's really focused on getting this guy out of here. I mean, he wants to finish this guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, the differences that we've seen, obviously, you know, bringing in the like guys like Raymond Daniels, you know, guys that emulate Wonderboy's style. How much more comfortable is he with it this time around?
Yeah, he's a lot more comfortable this time, and not necessarily because he was comfortable last time, but it's still a difference. Like when you're in the gym, you know, the comfort of the gym, you know, you can get comfortable. You know, he's the guy and you're fighting, but then when you get into the octagon and the cage, it could be a little bit different. But I think the fact that, you know, he had 2 camps training this way, and then he actually fought and saw what he's going to see again. So he's going to be extremely comfortable. I mean, it's going to be, you know, there was a time where, you know, me and him trained for a bunch of southpaws, and in the beginning it was difficult, you know, dealing with southpaws, but he fought so many of them that it's like, it's normal now. Yeah. So I think this is the same thing. I mean, in the beginning it's a little awkward and you might get it and be a little comfortable with it, but now it's normal. Like training with, you know, this style, it's going to be normal.
Aside from the training, obviously Tyron's going to take a hard stance on bringing light to the racism issues that he's faced as a champion. You know, what are your thoughts on that and him speaking out on it?
You know, it's a lot to that. I mean, that's a difficult and it's a very tough question. And there's a lot to it. I want to make sure that I don't say anything wrong here, but I'm going to say what I have to say. You know, the thing is, a lot of people are like, oh man, it doesn't exist, and you know, they're bringing up the fact that like only Tyron is saying it and nobody else will say it, which is true. It's very true. But what they don't know is that there is a list of all these guys that they think are happy have called Tyron personally to thank him for what he's doing. And but the reality is this, man. Like, we can say what we want. There's no racism. There's no racism. But you know, there are some things that goes on, and it just comes down to, like, we identify with people that look like us. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. You know, when Ronda's fighting, girls like Ronda. I mean, guys like her too, but for a different reason. But girls like Ronda. You know what I'm saying? Like, girls were. It brought a whole new audience, and that's sexism, but like, there's no negative connotation to saying that that's sexism, but it is. But whenever it's like racial and black and white, it's this taboo negative thing. So you know when Conor fights, he's a white guy, he's Irish, so I mean, it generates, the Irish people get excited about that. You know, in the Olympics, we root for our country, you know what I'm saying? But when there's no flag that we can identify with, we find ways to identify with people. So, like, not a lot of people can identify with Tyron, you know what I'm saying? Because he's a black athlete, he's a champ, you know what I'm saying? As much as we want to say, oh man, I like this guy, but we just really don't psychologically identify with him like we would somebody else. So, like, subconsciously, we make these decisions about him that he has to overcome. So that's really what it is.
Last question. We've taken way too much of your time, but
nah, I'm okay. I'm long-winded here. So.
Tyron said yesterday he wants to prove to everyone that he's like one of the greatest fighters of all time. Now, you've worked with so many guys, you've been around this industry since, you know, near enough the beginning. As his coach, how close is he to being the greatest of all time, in your perspective?
Once Tyron puts his mind to something and he doesn't let negativity get in the way, he'll be the greatest of all time. If he can stay focused on his task and not let, you know, external negativity disrupt him, he will be the greatest of all time.
Do you think he's going to make a big statement to proving that this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. You know, going into the way he fought Robbie Lawler, like, just his demeanor, I'm getting that same vibe from him this time.
Yeah.
And that was obviously his greatest performance. It didn't go long enough for anybody to see, for him to really have like that performance with just one punch. But if he's that loose and he's flowing and he's happy and he's joking, like, man, he is a dangerous guy, man, and like, everybody's in trouble.
Great stuff, Tim. Thanks for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, man.